few weeks ago, I teased a game that had OutRage in the title. And since then, I have been playing the game on and off in the last week, more so on. But now I can finally talk about it. We've gotten some of those urgent stuff out of the way, those urgent embargoes out of the way, and I can talk about OutRage Fight Fest. Now, this game is essentially a party brawler where it's a 16-person beat-em-up / party brawler, and it's by Hardball Games. It just came out last month, by the way, like July 16th, and so that's how long I've been playing it, roughly about 3 weeks or so. And the idea is that you take part in these short, chaotic sessions of either battle royale or team-based, kind of like team deathmatch type of game modes. Not everything's team deathmatch. Like there's like pain points, which is essentially like TDM, kind of in terms of like instead of kills, it's points. So the amount of damage you do will give your score for your team. I feel like I pitched that fucking atrociously, but
basically is just whichever team did the most damage.
Yes,
would score in that one.
And there's like crate grab, where essentially you grab crates, as the title would say, and you move them to kind of your home base where then you can score points, and the team that has the most crate grabs wins. So those are the game modes, but the core mechanic, right? It's a beat 'em up, but the core mechanic here is the more damage you do, the more rage you build up, and the rage comes out as like little sparks out of the opponents, and then you absorb them. And then as you increase your rage meter, you end up growing bigger. And there's like essentially there's 3 sizes. So there's like the first size that you start off as like a at the start of the game, and then as you keep going, you get a little bit more buff, and then you like fucking Hulk out for the third one. And then if you keep building the rage after you Hulk out, you can get these ultimates, where they're either like a ground pound that like blasts people away, some like buffs that make you do more damage, or like a ball around you. These are all kind of different things you unlock as you play, but the core thing is, the more you play, the more you beat people up. That's so bad. The more rage you get, and the more you kind of grow as a character. And that's the general kind of spin that maybe there's like the twist to get you into this game. Now, I've been, like I said, been playing it for a few weeks, and in the last week especially, I've been playing it a lot. And one of the things I will give the game credit for, because I always have this feeling whenever I play a multiplayer game, whenever I'm reviewing a multiplayer game, especially an indie multiplayer game like this one, player count is so important. And obviously they can put in bots, and like to a certain degree, that's fun. Like it's fine to do that and kind of fill out the lobbies, but it's really not. It's not going to be fun if there's just all AI lobbies, all bot lobbies. At that point, it's just a private match I'm playing by myself. Luckily, even though it's been a few weeks, the game's still doing pretty well. I don't take too long to get into games. In fact, I'd say one of the strongest points about this game is how fast you can get into a game. I mean, into at least the pre-lobby, because, it's one of those multiplayer games where instead of just sitting at a lobby like menu screen, you're actually in like a little waiting room where you can beat people up and kind of mess around a little bit. And the time it takes to boot up the game and to get there is like within 30 seconds you can get there. And then you have to wait a few like a minute or two to get everyone into the game, like 16 players into the game, and then it'll start the main match. But still, that's a very big plus point. But that being said, like there is a player base here. I'm not just spotting like Bob or Robot One, like those kind of names. Like these are actual other players that some of whom like I've seen, because it is a pretty small community. So as I'm playing more and more, I'll spot like, oh, there's that guy that fucking killed me the last time I played. And you can kind of get those kind of things. But so far, I have to say, easy to pick up and play, and I've also been, to kind of emphasize that, I've been playing this on the Steam Deck, and it is very playable on the Steam Deck. I don't know if it's necessarily like certified or verified on the Steam Deck, but it is like, I mean, you could nitpick, but it is very smooth and very fun on the Steam Deck, just picking this thing up and playing it. Now, like I said, there's two different kind of branches to the gameplay here. And that's the only two things, by the way, that the game kind of really offers. It's either the Battle Royale, where you can play solos or duos. And the concept, if you've played a Battle Royale, it's the same. You load in, and again, solos or duos. And like there's 3 rounds. And so if you make it through the first round, you go to the second, et cetera, et cetera. And then the third round is literally just like a 2v2 if you're doing duos. And by the way, not to brag, not to take away from this game or from this discussion, I'm apparently phenomenal at this game, Nick. Okay, I am constantly winning. I mean, if I could get tired of winning, Nick, it'd be in this game. And again,
yeah, I hopped on the
players.
account and played a couple of matches.
Oh, yeah?
And on 2 of my matches, I also was like MVP on the team.
Hell yeah! I was just playing one of the Pain Points. Actually, I was playing Pain Points right before a stream, and I had like the same amount of pain points as like almost like an entire team that I was playing against, which was great for my ego boost. But that being said, everything that's how I'm saying everything I'm about to say is totally real. So along with the Battle Royale, there's also the TDM. Now the TDM has a few different modes. You don't actually pick, you just kind of load in, and then it'll cycle through a few of the game modes. So it'll go through like pain points one time, and then crate grab another time, and then rage bank another time. And I think that does to the game's credit work well in terms of not feeling too monotonous. I think for me, in my headspace, I always like playing multiplayer games, usually like Call of Duty or first person shooter. I like to go for I like to pick the game modes I'm playing. Specifically, like I'll do TDM, I want this, I want kill confirmed, I want domination, whatever. I'm in the mood for this, right? This one, it's a little bit more random what you're getting into, but it also doesn't make you super real, or it doesn't make you super aware of the fact that there's not a lot kind of content variety in this game. There are unlockable stuff. So like I was saying, the special ability that you have, the more you play, like getting to level 3 unlocks the second ultimate ability you can get. And then also like as you get to level 5, you'll unlock some other additional costumes and stuff. Gotta be honest, most of this stuff is pretty underwhelming. And like the abilities are fine. There's like 4 abilities you can unlock, and they're good in terms of they are a variety of abilities, like of unlockable abilities, but like the costumes don't mean anything, and it doesn't really entice me to be a guy dressed in a dinosaur onesie versus being a dude with a afro and a beard. Like I'm not.
Yeah, I think what you're describing there, at least in the couple matches that I played, like I think a lot of the character models don't look entirely interesting. They look like a bit generic, where it's just kind of like regular kind of stylized cartoonish characters. Like I'm not going to say it's like cartoony animated, but like things like Fortnite and like we've seen in a lot of games, it's like stylized humans. And it just didn't really stand out to me. I really liked the way the UI looked in the game. I thought the UI looked very clean. But the stuff like in the actual game screen, I was just kind of like,
yeah.
Okay.
And I think part of that, like leads into the fact that during like the gameplay, when you're in the thick of things, it can maybe again, it's in like in the trailers, you might not be able to see it as much, but in the early, where we are in the official launch of the game and real people are hopping in playing it, and not everyone's going to have those crazy unlocks. Leveling up does feel a little bit slow for me. At least kind of that's just a general point. But the thing I'm trying to say though is that it doesn't feel like there's a lot of visual variety. Like it is, the characters are colored differently based on the team you're in, and it's like very poppy colors. Like so, it's like green, pink, blue, orange, like yellow, like those kind of things, purple. so you do get a little bit of that kind, like that's the only real way to see the customization in terms of like, or not customization because you don't really customize it. It's like the other players, the separation between the 2 teams, the 3 teams, 4 teams, whatever you're playing against.
Mm-hmm.
So the costumes don't mean much to me. And I just kind of end up focusing on the colors anyway. Like, you know, whatever color I am, like that's the costume I have on in my head. So yeah, it's a little bit of a hard thing to sell of like, hey, you know, play more to get these characters. Like, I'm not enticed to play more because of the characters and unlocking the stuff. I'm more interested in playing more because I think the core gameplay is pretty fun, just casually. And like I said, this is a beat 'em up mixed with a you know, slash. I literally have it in my notes, slash party brawler, so I've been saying slash every time. But it's not too complex. Like, it's not a deep fighting game. It's not like a Street Fighter or anything where you can do crazy combos. You can certainly do combos, and you know, as you're playing through the early part of the game, you actually, you know, have pop-ups on the screen that tell you, hey, like, try this combo out like 10 times, or try this combo out 10 times. By the way, now that I'm realizing that Nick has played the game, I think he may have gotten some combos, because I remember it was like 3 out of 10 for the longest time, and I can't pull this combo off where it's you hit X, X, and then B to like toss someone over your head. And I go back in today and it's at 6. So Nick, you've somehow doubled my score. I tried all game for the last 3 games, and I could not get him. But anyway.
Yeah, I actually had some quick thoughts on the gameplay that I wanted to share, because like, I haven't played as much as Yusri. I really only played like a handful of matches, but on the simplicity of the gameplay, I do think it's a little bit too simplistic. I think that because like you were saying, there's like, you know, a throw combo, there's like a light punch combo, and like a kick combo. And then you have like a special ability, but that's kind of all that I really experienced playing the tutorial. And the thing that I don't like about it is there is like hit stun out the ass in this game. Like, if you're getting hit, like, you basically just have to stand there until the other person's combo is done, because like, there's nothing you can really do to answer that unless you're like dodge rolling away from it. So I do think, yeah, pretty much. I do think that this game would really benefit from either like a block or some sort of like a reversal move to try to, like, you know, make those fights a little bit more dynamic, because like, I get that it is mostly like a party brawler, but it really just kind of felt like no matter what mode we were playing, it was just a bunch of people mashing together until the score was like, okay, we're done. Or it's like in the example of like the crate game, you have to take these crates back to your team's base, right?
Yep.
And it's like, at a certain point in the game, like, I just ignored all the other players and would just go grab a crate and run it back. And it's like,
you know, I think
we won.
What
like, it worked,
so many people focus on, and it's funny because when I play crate grab, my strategy has become to just stop people from scoring their own, because it becomes almost like this autonomous thing. Everyone's like, all right, sir, hello, let me just go to my crate, and like, just they're just moving, like, people don't even attack people, they're just trying to build an economy of crates. So yeah, my role has kind of become a disruptor in that part. But no, I totally agree with you. I think block button, like, that was definitely a note I had as well, adding some sort of a block feature. I think to reverse off of what you're saying as well, like, yeah, like for me, whenever I get hit, you do kind of get that stun where you can't do much. So like, you essentially, you either roll out of the way, or you have to, you're eating a combo. Like, you have to take that combo to the face. So the other side of that, though, is that when you, like, if you're the person, you know, hitting, the person that you do a combo on, they hit the ground after the combo, and then they have like, they're like invincible, quote unquote, for like a few seconds, like for a second or two. So it's not something like you, like, essentially, at least from the way I've experienced the game. And Nick, I don't know if you've kind of feel the same way, or if you have the same experience, but like, when someone's on the ground, like, if you hit someone, do a combo, they're on the ground, they have the advantage to come back up and hit you easier, because like, you know, essentially the moment that they hit X and, like, you know, engage the attack, they're out of that whatever invisibility for timing, or invincibility, not invisibility, invincibility timing of like being downed. But as the player that's standing, unless I guess I suppose if you're really good at the timing, which I'm clearly not, but it feels like I'm always getting the lower hand there until I kind of like back out and then have to go back in. And so one of the things I've seen a lot of people, like the strategy, I think the meta here that I've seen a lot of people use especially like the battle royale stuff, is they'll like do a combo on someone until they're down, and then they'll just dip to another player, do another combo on them, and then come back, do a combo back. Like so it's almost like you have to manage multiple people at the same time. I think part of this whole thing, right? And after saying everything, I do kind of understand some of the reasoning why they do the things they do in terms of design, because they are trying to make this as accessible as possible to as many players. Like there's not like, you don't have to feel intimidated to get into this game. It's really easy to pick up and play. Like if there's depth here, like I said, I'm destroying in this game, and I have not captured the depth. Like I'm not just button spamming, but I'm definitely like, like I know a few of the combos, and I'm spamming those combos in a certain rhythm type of thing. But yeah, it's definitely not like an in-depth game that you really have to like understand and get into like the timings and the keyframes and all that stuff, the iframes and e-frames. But but that being said, I think it's a little too easy, a little too simple. I think it could benefit from a block button, but for the fact of like how they're making players, when you go down on the ground, you can't take a hit, so you can't just keep getting comboed constantly. That kind of stuff I think is just for beginners to not feel scared. So I totally get it. I just feel like that's a little weird. But that being said, one of the weird kind of thoughts I had playing through the game and kind of synthesizing my thoughts down to notes that I can eventually write a review for. You can check out the review on respawnstation.com once it's done. It kind of reminded me of those like Slither.io games. I don't know if you've played those. There's like it was quite popular. I think there's like Hole.io is another one, but like these IO games that were essentially you you start off as like a little tiny worm in Slither.io, and then as you're playing, you eat these little things. You eat other worms, and then you grow bigger. But then I think it's similar to that game. What tends to happen here, especially when you're playing the big battle royale stuff, is that essentially players who are like who've hulked out, people like the small guys avoid them. They're like, oh shit, I'm not going near that guy. That's you can't even you can't grapple the big guy, but the big guy could certainly grapple you. And here's a really easy pro tip, guys, if you haven't thought of this already. As you're playing through the battle royale stuff, there's a circle that just kind of shrinks to kind of keep players confined and make sure the action's kind of continuing. You can grapple people and then throw them into the fuck out of the ring, and they either die or they have to come back and they take damage in the process. So, and if you want to be a real douche, you can grapple someone, throw them out, and then as they're recovering, pick up an object and throw it so they can't get back in. It's very satisfying to do that, but not that I've done it because I'm not a douche. But if I were to do it, it sounds pretty satisfying. But no, overall, though, I have been enjoying my time with OutRage. It's one of those games I can easily pick up when I'm just like chilling on the couch, just putting on random YouTube videos or just want to button mash a little bit. It's fun. I am winning enough to for it to be entertaining to me as well, of course. But I think it's very simple. Also, it's important to kind of mention this game's only $10, so it's not like obviously it's not a big full price title, but it's not even like a $30, $20 title either. It's $10, and I think for $10 you're getting a decent little party game that you can boot up with a few friends and play. It's an easy recommendation. I just want everyone to understand what it is. Like it is simple. It is it doesn't have, as we were saying, block. It's not supposed to be technical. You're not going to find depth here. look, if you're finding depth here, I would love to have a conversation with you because I don't see it, man. I don't see it.
I think under the, you know, the situation that is, if you're like with a couple of friends or whatever, or, you know, maybe you guys were like streaming it one night or whatever, like I think it's a good game for that, where you don't have to pay attention really. If you're looking for like a, you know, like you were mentioning, like a more meaty multiplayer experience, I don't think that this is it. But just something casual and fun to like throw on for a little bit, like I think that it works fine for that.